Alright, I'm just getting ready to move on to the display base, but before I do that, I wanted to try something that I've seen many times but just never tried it myself, and that is to dip the clear pieces into a clear floor polish, just to give it a bit of a better shine and a clear protective coating. So what's typically used is the Johnson & Johnson stuff. I just couldn't find that locally, so I found this at Home Depot. I tried this on some test pieces I had from an old model kit, and it worked pretty well. So I just dipped them in there and just allowing them to dry here now. As you can see though, the kit does come with two cockpit canopy covers here. We've got one with this molded into it while the frame is not molded here. There is a separate piece that you can glue on instead. Not sure which one I'm going to use, but I decided just to go ahead and treat both of these pieces and allowing them to dry. Alright, let's go ahead and move on now to the display base. Okay, we have most of our pieces here for the base. We've got the two pieces that came with the model kit. This is the base to the laser turret, of course, and these are the other two tiles I purchased from shapeways.com. We have 4-foot pieces here that we're going to use from Michaels, and then we have our styrene piece of plastic, which is by Evergreen Scale Models. This is a 2mm thickness plastic. I wanted it pretty sturdy here. And so we're going to go ahead and trim this now. And in order to do that, we're just going to go ahead and secure it. Alright, just taping it down just to hold it in place so there's no movement here. I have it marked off now. There'll be a slight border around the edge here. But this measures about 18 millimeters from here to here. So you just need to take a straight edge and a sharp X-Acto knife and just run it several times here to create a groove, and then you just snap it and you'll get a nice clean cut. Alright, next step I'm going to go ahead and prime this black, and we'll attach the foot pieces here, and then we'll move forward from there. Alright, so here we now have the base ready to go. We've got our foot plates attached here, and we're ready to move forward. Alright, well, it's now time to move into one of the funnest part of the projects, or at least what I find the funnest part with these particular things, especially when you're involving lighting now. You have to consider how to conceal the light switch and the wires. So let me show you what I have in mind for this project. Alright, so first let's talk about the light switch. Now the switch we're going to be using is this push switch here, which again is from modeltrainsoftware.com. And I've used these switches in the past, the same one I used for the Y-Wing project. And so you have a couple options here. You can conceal the switch. I was thinking about, first of all, maybe putting it inside of here. But I wanted to try to make it more accessible, just like I did with the Y-Wing, so we can just punch it and turn the lights on. So I was looking at this particular piece here, which of course looks like the port that Luke Skywalker accesses to destroy the Death Star. And as far as we know, there was only one port, so I had in mind to modify this either way. And so I was looking at this thinking I could do something with the modification I was going to do inside here. Why not conceal our switch inside there? So I looked through my parts drawer, and you know, I try to save parts from previous models. I have no idea where this is from, but it looked like it would fit the bill here. So I just drilled a hole in the middle of it, and sure enough, it allowed us to mount our switch into. So I decided to then drill 2 holes to accommodate the wires, and I think it's going to work out. This is where we're going to mount our switch here. Let me just show you what it's going to look like. And you can see now with the wires fed through, the switch is going to mount right in the center. I think that'll blend in pretty well. As for the display stand that the model is attached to, this is what it looks like. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that it has these hollowed out areas here. So first thing I did was to create a notch here, and then I fashioned these pieces that are going to be placed over them here. And so the wires will then feed from the model through this notch, and this cover piece, if you will now conceal the wires as well as the resistors. And then the other side will be covered with this piece here, just to make it complete. Now as the model is attached into the base, the wires will feed out here and down through the rest of the display stand. And just to illustrate this further now, you can see the wires coming out from this hole here. They feed in through the notch, as I mentioned, and this will then be concealed with that cover. As for the battery, I think I may conceal it inside here. It's not going to be very large. It's only a coin-sized battery, so I might be able to just create something to mount it to the bottom here. I'm just not sure yet, but we'll see how that goes. Meantime, let's go ahead and get started with painting this. along here now with the display and working on the tower, and I wanted just to demonstrate a method for darkening up the panel lines, and there's several ways to do this, but I'm finding really the easiest method now is using this fluid by Ammo MIG, and these are fluids you can buy to detail your models with. And so what you want to do first of all is to apply a gloss coating to the surface of the model that you're detailing. And what I did here was I just used the floor polish that I used to coat the canopy covers with. And I just applied this with my airbrush, let it dry, and it's a very simple technique. All you do is you take a fine tipped brush and you just take the pigment here and you just go along the panel lines like this, and you can see it's not going to be very neat when you first apply it. Of course, you're going to have some excess that drips off onto the panels, and that's okay. All you want to do is just follow the panel lines here, and then what we're going to do is allow this to dry. And once it's dry, you just simply wipe it away with a soft cloth. Alright, you can see I have two sides done now. I still have a little bit more cleanup to do, but as I demonstrated, just using a soft cloth allows you to clean up the excess fairly easily. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up the two sides here, and we'll move on. Alright, so getting ready to wrap everything up here. I just wanted to show you a few things here before I solder everything together and wrap up the project. So, wanted just to show you how well the stand has worked out here. You can see the wires are feeding through here and being concealed now with the panel that I've made here. The wires are protruding here and will feed through now the stand as we're getting ready to solder the switch up to the battery. The battery will slide underneath here and into this compartment, which will be hidden by the tower. Alright everybody, and here we now have the completed model. This is the A-Wing Starfighter by Bandai. It's a 1/72 scale model kit, and the fighter itself measures 5 inches from front to back. This makes my second Bandai kit, the first being the Y-Wing, and I continue to be impressed by the level of detail that Bandai adds to these model kits. As far as I can tell, it looks pretty screen accurate compared to the reference pictures that I've seen of this model. It also comes complete with this laser turret here, which is a really nice touch. Along with that, it includes one of these Death Star tiles that you see the model attached to. Also, as you know, I purchased 2 other tiles from Shapeways.com. Now, if you're interested in ordering these tiles on Shapeways, I wanted to point out a couple things here. First of all, the seller's name is Shockbolt, and you'll notice that the description says that you have 2 options. One is a polished option, the other is not, and also it says it's sandy or grainy surface texture. And sure enough, when you compare the two, when you're looking at styrene versus a 3D printed tile here, you'll notice it's a little grainier or a little rougher. I've worked with 3D printed materials before, at least in one other instance, and I was able to sand it smooth. I did not want to sand this at all because I was afraid that I would sand away some of the surface detailing, so I left it as is. One tile is this one, of course, and the other resembles the port that is used to destroy the Death Star. I had in mind to modify it either way, but it worked out well here because it gave me an area to install the light switch. Alright, so I've dimmed the lights here in the garage so we can turn on the lights. I'm going to go ahead and flip that switch there. And you can see now that the cockpit is lit by one SMD. This is a nano size LED light that's yellow in color. And for the engines, I chose chip-sized SMD lights that are orange in color. Unfortunately, they don't flicker. That would have been my preference, but I think they do a nice job lighting the engines. One thing I really like about this design is if you look at the engines from a certain angle, you get this sort of tunnel-like effect here. I think the model lends itself really well to lighting. And just giving you a closer look at the model now, you can see the type of attention to detail that Bandai puts in these kits. You've got nice panel lines here that are easily highlighted by washing them with a surface wash there. And the other thing I used, of course, was to me a weathering kit, which works real well to apply these scorched effects here that you see on the surface. Also think the chipping solution that I used from MiG Ammo worked really nicely to give us these tinier weathered areas that you see. And the last thing that was applied were the decals that came with the model kit. There aren't that many, but you can see some of the decals here and here. We've got a couple more on the nose and some towards the back side here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give it a rating for you here, which really is an overall 5. I really had a lot of fun with this kit. The kit is accurate as far as I can tell. I think that you'll have just as much fun as I did putting it together. It's easy to put together, and the affordability is very good. It comes in under $30. Alright, well there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me here on my YouTube channel or at interstellarmodeler@gmail.com. I'll also put up a brief list of the materials I used for this. And again, let me know if you have any questions. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you then in the next one. Take care.